The night sky above Washington, D.C., once a canvas of stars, was now dominated by the colossal silhouette of an alien ship. On the ground, chaos reigned as sirens wailed and people scrambled for shelter. At the Pentagon, the emergency response was swift and decisive. General Marcus Holden stood at the head of the conference table, his face illuminated by the glow of the screens showing live feeds from around the world. Around him were his top advisors and military officials, all eyes on him, waiting for orders. "Status report," Marcus commanded, his voice cutting through the murmurs of the room. Colonel Rick Jensen stepped forward, clicking a remote to bring up a detailed image of the ship. The object appeared in our atmosphere approximately 30 minutes ago. It's stationary over the Capitol. No communication attempts have been successful. Marcus turned to another figure in the room, Dr. Leo Abrams, the chief scientific advisor. "Theories." Leo adjusted his glasses, looking uneasy. "Nothing concrete yet, General. Its sudden appearance and the technology to just appear in our airspace. It's beyond anything we've seen." The door to the room swung open, and in walked Admiral Kyle Harper, his expression grave. "The UN is in an uproar, Marcus. Every major city is on high alert. We need a plan now." Marcus nodded, pacing slightly. "Rick, I want our air units on standby, but tell them not to engage until we know what we're dealing with. Kyle, get me a secure line to the President. We need to coordinate our response globally." As Kyle nodded and stepped out, Marcus turned to his communications officer. "Any luck on making contact?" Lieutenant Dan Morris shook his head. "Nothing, sir. It's like they're not even receiving, or they're choosing to ignore us." Marcus clenched his fists, feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders. "Keep trying. Leo, I want you and your team working non-stop. Anything you find, I need to know immediately." "Yes, sir," Leo replied, already tapping messages into his tablet. The screens flickered, and suddenly, amidst the static, a voice echoed through the room, deep and resonant, yet unervingly calm. "People of Earth, we are the HFY. We have come." Everyone in the room froze, turning to the main screen. The voice continued, "We seek dialogue with your leaders. Do not resist. Do not fight." As the message looped, Marcus exchanged a look with Rick. "Set up a perimeter around the city. Evacuate civilians from the immediate area." "I'm not taking any chances." Rick nodded, his face set. "What about a countermeasure, sir?" "We hold back until we know more. Our priority is to avoid provoking them until we can ascertain their intentions," Marcus stated, turning to watch the alien ship on the screen, its imposing structure a stark contrast against the familiar skyline. In the corner of the room, Leo whispered to his assistant, "Gather all data you can on the ship's emissions, energy patterns, anything unusual. We need insights, and fast." The room buzzed with activity as each man set about his tasks, the gravity of the situation uniting them in purpose. Marcus watched them, knowing the decisions made in the next few hours could change the course of human history. As the team worked, the alien message replayed, a constant reminder of the unknown variables at play. Marcus stood resolute, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, the safety of the planet resting in his and his team's capable hands. In the secure war room of the Pentagon, tension was palpable as leaders from various military branches gathered around a high-tech digital map displaying the alien ship's current position. General Marcus Holden stood at the forefront, flanked by his trusted advisors, including Admiral Kyle Harper and Colonel Rick Jensen. "Gentlemen," Marcus began, his voice steady, "the HFY haven't made any aggressive moves since their initial appearance, but we can't afford to be complacent. We need a proactive strategy." Admiral Harper leaned forward, tapping on the map. "We've positioned naval fleets along both coasts. If they make a move, we can respond quickly. However, our primary concern should still be trying to establish communication." Colonel Jensen, who had been coordinating with ground forces, chimed in. "Air surveillance drones are maintaining a perimeter around their ship. If anything changes, we'll know immediately. We've also prepped EMP devices just in case we need to disable their technology without causing a full-scale attack." Dr. Leo Abrams, still poring over the data collected from the alien emissions, looked up from his tablet. "We've noticed an unusual pattern in their energy output. It might be a form of communication or it could be prepping for something more hostile." Marcus rubbed his chin thoughtfully. "Leo, keep your team on it. Understanding their technology could be key to figuring out their intentions. Just then, Lieutenant Dan Morris entered the room, slightly out of breath. "General, we've managed to isolate a frequency we believe might be used by the THRYXX. We're ready to attempt another communication." "Do it," Marcus ordered immediately. The room quieted as Dan adjusted the communications panel. A static-filled silence hung in the air as they awaited a response. Seconds felt like hours until finally, a crackling voice filled the room. "Why have you disturbed our operations? Your planet is of strategic interest to us. Cease your defensive preparations," the THRYXX's voice commanded, more assertively this time. Marcus stepped closer to the microphone. "We are prepared to defend our world. We request that you leave peacefully. We do not wish for conflict, but we will protect Earth." The THRYXX's reply was instant. "Your defenses are inadequate. Do not provoke us." Admiral Harper exchanged a worried glance with Marcus. "We may need to show them that we can hit back if it comes to that." Marcus nodded. "Prepare a demonstration. Target an uninhabited area away from their ship. Make sure it's visible from their position. Rick, coordinate with the Air Force. I want precision and control." "Yes, sir," Rick replied, already moving to carry out the orders. As preparations for the demonstration got underway, Marcus pulled Kyle aside. "Keep channels open for diplomacy. We need to be ready to switch gears quickly if they show any interest in negotiation." Kyle nodded. "Understood, Marcus. I'll have our best linguists and communication experts on standby, trying every possible way to break through to them." Back in the operations center, the team moved efficiently. The atmosphere was charged with a mix of determination and apprehension. Every man in the room knew the gravity of the situation. The upcoming demonstration could very well determine the future course of human-alien relations. As the team prepared for what was to come, Marcus watched the live feeds, his mind racing with possible outcomes. Earth's first interstellar conflict hung in the balance, and every decision could tip the scales. In the dim light of the early morning, the Pentagon's operations center was alive with the hum of activity. General Marcus Holden stood with his arms crossed, watching the live satellite feeds displayed on the large screens. The aftermath of their demonstration had left a visible mark on a remote desert, a clear message to the THRYXX of Earth's capabilities and will to defend itself. Admiral Kyle Harper joined him, his face etched with concern. "Any response from the THRYXX after the demo?" he asked. "Nothing yet," Marcus replied, his gaze fixed on the screen. "They're either reassessing their stance, or it didn't faze them. Either way, we stay alert." Colonel Rick Jensen entered, holding a printout. "We've intercepted what seems to be a tactical broadcast between the ship and another unknown receiver. It's fragmented, but it looks like they might be planning a counter-move." Marcus took the printout, scanning the encoded text. "Can we decrypt this further?" "We're on it, but it's a complex cipher," Rick answered, signaling to a tech officer who nodded and continued his rapid typing. "Keep me updated. Kyle, ensure all units are at maximum readiness. If they hit us, it will be hard and fast," Marcus instructed, turning back to the screen. The tense silence was suddenly broken by a sharp alert from the communication station. Lieutenant Dan Morris looked up, urgency clear in his eyes. "Sir, we've got a massive energy buildup above the city. It looks like they're preparing to strike." "Locations?" Marcus demanded, moving closer. "Multiple urban centers. Major cities across the globe," Dan replied, his voice steady despite the gravity of the news. "Evacuate. Broadcast the threat level to every civilian channel. Use emergency protocols," Marcus ordered, his voice echoing commandingly in the room. As sirens began to wail across the globe, and broadcasts informed the populace of the imminent threat, the team at the Pentagon coordinated with international forces. The world was on the brink, and every second counted. In the midst of the crisis, Dr. Leo Abrams rushed in, clutching a stack of papers. "Marcus, we've made a breakthrough. The THRYXX's technology, it's vulnerable to high-frequency pulses. We can disrupt their systems if we modify our EMP devices." "Get to it, Leo. Anything to give us an edge," Marcus responded, clapping him on the shoulder before turning to address his commanders. "Gentlemen, this may be our best shot to disable their weapons before they fire." Teams of technicians and scientists scrambled to implement Leo's modifications, transforming theoretical countermeasures into practical defenses. Kyle, overseeing the naval forces, coordinated with his ships, prepare to deploy modified EMPs on my mark. Target their weapon systems. As the world watched, the skies darkened with the threat of the THRWXX's counterstrike. In the Pentagon, Marcus, Kyle, and Rick stood together, monitoring the deployment of the EMPs. "EMP units are in position," reported Rick, his voice tense. "Deploy on my command," Marcus said, watching the alien ship's energy signatures spike dangerously. 3, 2, 1. Mach. Kyle gave the order. The screens flickered as the EMPs launched, creating a spectacular display of light and electricity that arced towards the alien ship. The room held its breath, waiting for the outcome. After a tense moment, cheers broke out. The energy signatures from the THRYXX ship diminished rapidly. "We've hit them. Their systems are down," Dan shouted, relief washing over his features. Marcus allowed himself a moment of relief before his strategic mind kicked back in. "Monitor their systems. Any change, I want to know immediately. This war isn't over yet." As they prepared for the next phase, the men in the room knew they had achieved a crucial victory. But the battle for Earth's freedom was just beginning. The world had united under the threat, and together they would face whatever came next. Underground in a hastily assembled command center, General Marcus Holden reviewed the latest satellite imagery with his top advisors. The successful EMP strike had given Earth a momentary advantage, but the alien threat remained as the THRWXX ship lingered ominously in the sky. "Gentlemen, our next steps are critical," Marcus began, addressing the room. "We've shown them we can fight back, but we need a more sustainable strategy." "Ideas?" Colonel Rick Jensen, always direct, was quick to respond. "We need to hit them harder. Their ship is still operational, which means they're likely repairing their systems. We should consider a ground assault." Admiral Kyle Harper, who had been coordinating the naval defenses, chimed in. "A ground assault is too risky as long as that ship has any fight left. I suggest we focus on strengthening our aerial capabilities and keep them grounded." Dr. Leo Abrams, looking up from his laptop, added, "If we could understand more about their technology, we might find a more permanent weakness. Perhaps a covert mission aboard their ship could provide the intelligence we need." Marcus nodded thoughtfully. "Rick, start planning a tactical strike with what we have. Kyle, keep our skies clear. Leo, assemble a small team for recon. We need every advantage we can get." As the men set to work, Lieutenant Dan Morris approached with a concerned look. "General, there's something else. We've intercepted a new signal from the THRYXX. It's different this time, encrypted differently. We're working on it, but it seems they're not just on the defensive anymore." Marcus's brow furrowed. "Keep me updated, Dan. We need to know what they're planning." The next few hours were a blur of activity. Leo selected his team for the recon mission, including a linguist, a communications specialist, and 2 of his best engineers. Meanwhile, Rick coordinated with international allies to prepare for the next confrontation. In a quiet corner, Marcus met with Kyle to discuss the broader strategy. "If we can keep them reacting to us, we maintain control of the game," Marcus stated. Kyle nodded in agreement. "We'll need to be unpredictable, change our tactics regularly so they can't pin us down." Later, in the makeshift lab, Leo briefed his recon team. "Our mission is to gather as much intel as possible without engaging the enemy. Stealth is key." The linguist, a young but brilliant decoder named Tom, asked, "What should we be on the lookout for in terms of communication?" "Anything that helps us understand their command structure or objectives," Leo replied. "We know they're intelligent and coordinated, but learning their language could be the key to anticipating their moves." As night fell, the recon team geared up. Each member was acutely aware of the risks, but the potential rewards were worth it. Infiltrating an alien ship was the stuff of science fiction, yet here they were, about to attempt it. Back in the command center, Marcus and Kyle monitored the preparation for the aerial strike. "Are the pilots ready?" Marcus asked. "They're the best we've got," Kyle responded confidently. "They know what's at stake." In a brief moment of downtime, Rick joined them, his expression somber. "We're ready on all fronts, but Marcus, you know this could go sideways fast." Marcus met his gaze squarely. "I know. But we're out of good options. We do this now, while we have the upper hand, or we risk losing everything. As the aerial team launched, the command center was tense. Screens displayed real-time feeds of the jets speeding towards the alien ship, now beginning to show signs of activity. "Here we go," Kyle muttered, watching as the first missiles were fired. The resistance had moved beyond mere survival. It was now an orchestrated dance of military precision, scientific ingenuity, and raw determination. Each man played his part in the intricate ballet of war, united by a common goal, to save their planet or die trying. As the night deepened, so did their resolve. The battle for Earth was far from over, but the human spirit, tempered in the crucible of conflict, was prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Back in the Pentagon's underground command center, tension was thick in the air as General Marcus Holden and his team awaited the results of the aerial strike and the recon mission. The screens around them displayed various data and live feeds, keeping everyone on edge. Dr. Leo Abrams entered the room briskly, his face showing signs of both fatigue and excitement. "Marcus, we've had a breakthrough with the alien communication system," he announced, holding up a tablet. Marcus quickly turned to face him. "What have you got, Leo?" "We cracked part of their encryption. It seems they've been sending status updates to their command. More importantly, we found a recurring reference to their propulsion technology. It's apparently vulnerable during certain phases of their repair cycle," Leo explained. Colonel Rick Jensen leaned in, interested. "Can we exploit this vulnerability?" Leo nodded. "With the right timing and weaponry, yes. We can disrupt their repair process, possibly even disable the ship temporarily." Admiral Kyle Harper, overseeing the naval deployments, chimed in from the conference call screen. "I'll coordinate with the fleets. If we're going to hit them, it needs to be soon." Marcus gestured decisively. "Do it. Let's not give them any breathing room. Rick, coordinate with Leo on the timing. Kyle, get the fleets ready." As the men set to work, Lieutenant Dan Morris approached with an update from the aerial team. "General, the strike caused significant damage to their outer defenses. Our pilots are ready for another run if needed." "Good work. Keep them on standby," Marcus replied, then turned back to Leo. "I want continuous updates on their repair cycle. Any change, I need to know immediately." "Yes, sir," Leo responded, turning back to his data analysis. The command center buzzed with activity as each member of the team played his part in the intricate dance of war. Meanwhile, the recon team was still aboard the alien ship, gathering crucial intelligence. In a secure communication link, Tom, the linguist on the recon team, transmitted his latest findings. "General, we've managed to access their navigational logs. It looks like they've been scouting Earth for longer than we thought." Marcus absorbed this new information. "Anything on why they chose to strike now?" "It's still unclear, but we're digging deeper. We've also found schematics that could help us understand their weaponry better," Tom reported. "Keep at it, and stay safe." "We need you back here with that intel," Marcus instructed, his voice firm yet tinged with concern. Back on Earth, the men prepared for a synchronized assault. Kyle coordinated with the international naval forces, while Rick set up the ground and air units to strike the moment the alien ship showed signs of weakness. Marcus stood at the center of the operations room, his eyes moving from one screen to another, keeping track of both the military actions and the status updates from the recon team. Suddenly, Leo rushed up to him with a new update. "The ship's entering a critical phase of its repair cycle. Now's the time to strike." Without hesitation, Marcus gave the order. "All units, execute Plan Delta. Hit them with everything we've got." As the coordinated attack unfolded, Marcus, Kyle, Rick, and Leo watched the screens intently. Explosions lit up the sky around the alien ship, each blast a testament to human ingenuity and bravery. After a tense few minutes, the smoke cleared enough to reveal the status of the alien ship. Cheers erupted around the room as it became evident that the attack had successfully disabled a significant part of the HFY's propulsion systems. Marcus allowed himself a brief smile, but his mind was already moving on to the next challenge. Prepare for their response. This isn't over yet. Kyle, ensure our fleets are ready for any counterattacks. Rick, keep our air and ground forces on high alert. Roger that, both men responded, immediately getting back to their tasks. The team knew they had won a significant battle, but the war was far from over. The stakes were higher than ever, and each man was aware that the future of Earth rested on their shoulders. In the secure war room, General Marcus Holden and his advisors watched as the after-effects of their successful strike on the THRYXX ship were analyzed. The room was abuzz with cautious optimism and strategic planning. Colonel Rick Jensen reviewed the latest satellite images. The damage to their propulsion is more extensive than we expected. They're grounded, at least for now. Marcus nodded, his eyes scanning the data on the screen. Good. Let's use this time wisely. Any progress on the negotiations front? Admiral Kyle Harper, who had been working on establishing a diplomatic channel with the THRYXX, sighed. It's been tough. They're cautious, but they're listening. I think the last attack got their attention. Lieutenant Dan Morris, the communications officer, chimed in from his station. We've set up a secure line for talks, using the frequency we cracked. They haven't agreed to anything yet, but they're communicating, which is a start. Dr. Leo Abrams, still poring over the alien technology schematics recovered by the recon team, looked up. Understanding their tech has been key. We might be able to propose a technology exchange as a peace offering. It's risky, but it could show our willingness to coexist. Marcus considered this for a moment. Draft a proposal, Leo. But make it clear we're not backing down. We're just opening the door. The group nodded, each returning to his tasks with renewed vigor. Marcus turned his attention to strategic defense placements when a new alert came in. Dan's voice cut through the murmur of conversations. Sir, the THRYXX are broadcasting something. It's public this time. The team gathered around Dan's station as the alien voice, translated through their newly developed software, filled the room. To the leaders of Earth, your attacks have not gone unnoticed. We wish to avoid further conflict. We are prepared to discuss terms. Marcus straightened, exchanging looks with Kyle and Rick. Get me on that broadcast. It's time we spoke leader to leader. Dan quickly set up the connection, and Marcus stepped forward. This is General Marcus Holden of the United Earth Command. We are prepared to talk, but know this, Earth is not yours to claim. We will defend it. There was a brief pause before the THRYXX responded. We understand. We seek only refuge, not conquest. Let us meet and discuss this in your terms. Marcus gave a curt nod. We will arrange a meeting. Stay tuned for details. As the connection ended, the room erupted into strategic chatter. Marcus called for quiet. We need a solid plan. This meeting could end the conflict or escalate it. We need to be prepared for both outcomes. Kyle started coordinating with global naval forces to maintain a perimeter around the meeting area, while Rick worked with ground and air units to ensure security. Meanwhile, Leo and his team prepared the technology exchange proposal, carefully selecting non-essential but impressive tech to share. In a quieter corner of the room, Marcus met with his closest advisors. We're walking a tightrope here, he confessed. Any slip could be catastrophic. Rick clapped him on the shoulder. We've got your back, Marcus. We all do. This meeting could change everything, and we'll be ready for whatever comes. As the preparations for the high-stakes meeting went underway, Marcus felt the gravity of the situation settle around him. This was a pivotal moment, not just in this conflict, but for the future of human-alien relations. Each decision, each word exchanged, would need to be carefully weighed. The team finalizing their preparations, each man aware that the next few days could indeed determine the fate of Earth. The unity and cooperation among them were palpable. Despite the tensions and the high stakes, they were ready to face whatever the THRYXX brought to the negotiation table. The designated meeting place was an isolated military base, heavily guarded and surrounded by the bleak expanse of a desert. General Marcus Holden, along with Admiral Kyle Harper and Colonel Rick Jensen, surveyed the area as they prepared for the historic meeting with the THRYXX representatives. In the command tent, Marcus briefed his team. Security is our top priority. Every possible angle, every potential threat, we need to have it covered. Kyle, coordinating the external security with naval and air forces, nodded. I've got patrols in the air and on the ground. Nothing will approach this area without us knowing. Rick was checking the latest equipment being set up around the perimeter. We've installed the latest surveillance tech. If a sandfly moves out here, we'll see it. Lieutenant Dan Morris, tasked with communications, updated the group. The THRYXX have just entered our airspace. They're on approach, following the flight path we laid out. Marcus took a deep breath, looking out toward the horizon. Let's keep this peaceful but be ready for anything. The THRYXX ship, smaller than the one that loomed over Earth but still impressive, touched down with a hiss and a cloud of dust. The Earth delegation, dressed in military regalia but unarmed as a sign of good faith, stood ready to greet their counterparts. As the THRYXX disembarked, their appearance, tall, with a shimmering, translucent skin, caused a stir among the human guards. The lead THRYXX, who introduced himself as Commander Varix, extended a hand, which Marcus cautiously accepted. "General Holden, we come in peace," Varix spoke, his voice modulated through a translator device. "We're here to find a mutual solution," Marcus replied, gesturing towards the conference tent. "Shall we?" Inside, the atmosphere was tense as the two delegations sat across from each other. Dr. Leo Abrams, who was part of the Earth delegation, laid out the technology exchange proposal carefully. "We offer these as a gesture of goodwill. They are non-essential but should serve as a basis for our technological exchange." Commander Varix inspected the devices, nodding slowly. "This is a generous start. We offer in return knowledge of interstellar navigation and renewable energy systems." The negotiations moved slowly, with each side cautiously probing the other's intentions. Kyle, observing the THRYXX carefully, leaned over to whisper to Marcus. They seemed genuinely interested in a peaceful resolution. Marcus, watching every move and every flicker of the THRYXX's eyes, remained non-committal. "Or they're excellent actors. We'll proceed with caution." As the discussions drew on, Rick received a silent alert on his watch. He excused himself and stepped outside to take a call. Returning a few minutes later, his expression was grave. "Marcus," he murmured, pulling him aside. "We've got reports of another THRYXX ship entering the solar system. Much larger than the one we've been dealing with." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Keep it under wraps for now. We can't disrupt these talks until we know more." The meeting concluded with an agreement to establish a temporary truce, with more detailed treaties to be negotiated in the coming days. As the THRYXX delegation left, Marcus, Kyle, and Rick gathered for a debrief. "We need to be prepared," Marcus said firmly. "This new ship changes everything. But let's keep this quiet until we have more information." Kyle nodded. "I'll enhance our surveillance and defense readiness without raising any alarms. And I'll coordinate with our global partners to ensure we're not caught off guard," Rick added, turning to leave. The Earth delegation was left to ponder the delicate balance they had achieved. The prospect of peace hung in the air, as fragile and tenuous as the desert winds that swept around their isolated meeting place. The future remained uncertain, and the presence of a new THRYXX ship loomed as a silent but potent threat over the uneasy alliance they had just formed. Under the cover of night, General Marcus Holden convened an emergency meeting with Admiral Kyle Harper and Colonel Rick Jensen in a secure underground facility. The atmosphere was tense as they prepared for a covert operation in response to the new THRYXX ship's unexpected appearance. "All right, we've confirmed the larger ship is now in a holding pattern just beyond the moon," Marcus started, his voice low. "This could be their real threat. Our priority is to gather intelligence, find out what they're planning." Kyle, ever the strategist, added, "We've got a narrow window to act while they're still settling in. I propose we send a small team to infiltrate the ship, plant surveillance devices, and if possible, access their command system." Rick, tapping on his tablet, displayed a schematic of the THRYXX ship. "Based on what we learned from the first smaller ship, I've outlined potential entry points and key areas to plant bugs. Our techs have prepared some miniaturized surveillance drones for this." Marcus nodded, approving the plan. "Who leads the team?" "I'll go," Kyle volunteered immediately. "I know the layout we're working with better than anyone else here." Marcus looked at him, assessing. "It's risky, Kyle. You're high profile." "Exactly why I should go." "They won't expect it," Kyle argued, his determination clear. Rick chimed in, "I've got your back from here with remote support. We'll monitor your every move and keep communication lines open." The preparations were swift and thorough. Within hours, Kyle and a hand-picked team of specialists were geared up and boarding a stealth shuttle designed to evade THRYXX detection. As they approached the THRYXX ship, the tension was palpable. Inside the shuttle, Kyle went over the plan one last time. "Remember, get in, plant the devices, attempt data extraction, and get out. No heroics." The shuttle docked silently with the THRYXX ship. The team, cloaked in advanced stealth suits, moved through the corridors with precision, avoiding patrols and navigating towards the central command hub. Back on Earth, Marcus and Rick monitored the operation from a command room filled with screens showing live feeds and data streams. "They're in," Rick confirmed, watching the team's progress. Kyle and his team reached the command hub, quickly working to install surveillance devices and access the THRWXX's systems. Suddenly, an unexpected alarm blared through the ship. "They've been detected," Dan Morris, now assisting in the command room, announced urgently. "Abort. Get out of there now," Marcus commanded over the comlink. Kyle acknowledged. "Copy that, we're moving." The team retraced their steps, moving swiftly towards the shuttle. As they made their escape, the THRWXX ship came alive with activity. The team barely made it back to their shuttle, dodging security forces. Once back aboard their shuttle, Kyle breathed a sigh of relief. "We're clear. Heading home." Rick, monitoring their return trajectory, noted, "Looks like you've got some data before the alarm. It might give us something on their intentions." As the shuttle re-entered Earth's atmosphere, Marcus stood in the command room, the weight of the operation's success and risks taken settling on his shoulders. "Good work, everyone," Marcus said as he watched the shuttle land safely. "Let's see what we've got and plan our next move." The team gathering around as the data extracted from the THRWXX ship began to reveal its secrets. The risks taken tonight could potentially shift the power balance, giving Earth a fighting chance against a looming greater threat. The mood was cautiously optimistic as they prepared to delve into the newfound intelligence, ready to face whatever challenges came next. In the Pentagon's underground strategy room, the mood was tense. The data retrieved from the THRWXX ship was being decrypted, revealing troubling new details about the situation. General Marcus Holden, Admiral Kyle Harper, and Colonel Rick Jensen gathered around the main display, where Dr. Leo Abrams was finalizing the analysis. "Gentlemen, it's worse than we thought," Leo began, his voice grave. The THRWXX were not just fleeing a generic threat, they were specific about it. They're running from the KRYL, a much more aggressive and expansionist race. And it looks like they're headed this way. Marcus absorbed the news with a deep frown. "Time frame. Estimates suggest we have less than 72 hours before the KRYL fleet reaches our solar system," Leo replied, adjusting his glasses nervously. Kyle leaned against the table, his mind racing. "Our current alliances and armaments won't hold against a fleet described in these files. We need to consider forming a more robust alliance with the THRWXX. They know the KRYL's tactics." Rick looked skeptical. "Can we trust them, though? Last time they weren't exactly forthcoming." "It's not about trust, it's about survival," Marcus countered firmly. "Set up a meeting with the THRWXX leaders. It's time we discuss forming a united front." Kyle nodded, stepping aside to coordinate the communication. Meanwhile, Rick organized the deployment of Earth's combined military forces, preparing for the possibility of a full-scale defense. As the preparations kicked into high gear, Dan Morris entered with an update. "Sir, the THRWXX have agreed to meet. They're proposing a neutral location, Orbital Platform Delta." "Make the arrangements," Marcus directed, then turned to his team. "We need to be clear and precise in our negotiations. This isn't just about technology or territory. It's about forming a strategic partnership against a common enemy." The meeting on Orbital Platform Delta was charged with a palpable urgency. Commander Verix from the THRWXX delegation greeted Marcus and his team as they arrived. "We understand the gravity of the situation," Verix stated as the groups settled around the negotiation table. "The KRYL are conquerors, relentless and cruel. We've lost much to them already." Marcus nodded, his expression stern. "Then you understand why we need to work together. What can you offer?" Verix signaled to an aide, who brought forward detailed schematics. "Weapons technology, shields, and tactical data on the KRYL. Together, we can fortify your system against their assault." Kyle, reviewing the schematics, was impressed despite himself. "This could significantly enhance our orbital defenses." Rick interjected, "What do you need from us?" "Sanctuary," Verix replied simply. "A base of operations, resources, and a pledge to defend it as if it were your own soil." The negotiations continued for hours, hashing out the details of the alliance, the division of responsibilities, and the integration of THRYXX technology with Earth's defenses. Back on Earth, as Marcus, Kyle, and Rick returned from the meeting, the strategy room was bustling with activity. Leo approached with a smile. We've started integrating the THRYXX shield tech. Early tests are promising. Good, Marcus replied, looking over the room. I want updates every hour. This alliance may be our best shot, but let's keep our guard up. As the preparations advanced, the skies darkened with the approach of the KRWL fleet, a vast collection of ships that blotted out the stars. Positions, everyone, Marcus ordered. The Earth and THRYXX forces, now allies, positioned themselves in Earth's orbit, ready to confront the KRYL threat. The combined fleets bracing for the imminent battle. Every man in the command room knew the next hours would be critical in determining the future of Earth and its new allies. The KRYL were coming, and the newly forged alliance would soon face its first test. The war room aboard Earth's largest orbital defense station was a whirl of activity as General Marcus Holden and his team prepared for the impending clash with the KRYL fleet. Screens lit up with tactical displays and live feeds from various points of the defensive perimeter. Admiral Kyle Harper and Colonel Rick Jensen were coordinating the combined Earth and THRYXX fleets, which were now in formation. Status report, Marcus barked, his eyes scanning the incoming data. The THRYXX have taken position on the flanks. Their shield technology is integrated and operational. All systems are green, Kyle reported, his voice steady despite the tension. Rick added, our ground-to-orbit cannons are locked and loaded. Space mines are deployed. We're as ready as we'll ever be. Just then, Dr. Leo Abrams rushed in, holding a tablet. General, I've managed to enhance our sensors. We should be able to predict their warping points more accurately. Excellent work, Leo. Implement it immediately, Marcus responded, clapping him on the back before turning back to the main display. The first signs of the KRYL approach sent ripples through the room. The enemy fleet materialized from warp space, their ships larger and more menacing than any scouting reports had shown. This is it, Marcus said quietly. All units, engage at will. The battle commenced with a ferocious intensity. Earth and THRYXX ships darted through space, their combined firepower lighting up the void. Explosions rocked the KRYL lines, but they pressed forward relentlessly. From his command station, Marcus directed the fleet, his voice a constant presence over the comms. Focus fire on their command ships. Keep them off balance, he instructed. Kyle, overseeing the aerial maneuvers, coordinated attacks that exploited the KRYL's weak spots revealed by THRYXX intelligence. Delta formation now. Push them back. On the main screen, a particularly intense skirmish unfolded. Rick, monitoring troop deployments, shouted, "We've got a breach in Sector 7. Rerouting squadrons to intercept." The room cheered as the display showed Earth fighters successfully repelling a KRYL boarding attempt. But the victory was short-lived as new alerts signaled further KRYL advances. Amidst the chaos, Marcus maintained his composure. We knew this wouldn't be easy. Stay sharp, everyone. We can do this. Hours into the battle, with both sides suffering heavy losses, a sudden shift occurred. The KRYL, seemingly disoriented by the relentless assault and unexpected resilience of the Earth THRYXX alliance, began to falter. Seeing the opportunity, Marcus seized the moment. All forces, full advance. Push them back. This is our chance to end it. Under his command, the combined fleets surged forward, breaking through the KRYL lines with a decisive strike at their flagship. As the KRYL flagship exploded in a brilliant flash of light, the remaining KRYL ships began to retreat, their resolve broken. In the aftermath of the battle, Marcus, Kyle, and Rick stood together, watching the last of the KRYL ships warp away in defeat. We did it, Marcus said, relief and exhaustion evident in his voice. We did, Kyle agreed, looking around at the weary but triumphant faces in the room. Rick clapped both men on the shoulders. Not just a victory for Earth, but for our future as part of this galaxy. The alliance between Earth and the THRYXX grew stronger, forged in the heat of battle. Peace talks began, with Earth taking a new role on the galactic stage, ready to face any future challenges with a newfound sense of unity and purpose. The legacy of this time, marked by conflict and cooperation, would resonate through the ages, a testament to what could be achieved when disparate beings united for a common cause.